So as I've already highlighted, one of the things the review does highlight is the variation in attendance rates and lays that out as a plan. But it also sought to look for some wider evidence about why some of these common health and well-being markers were actually important. Now this is a simple table, but it's based on a very large data set, and it's real data and it's data from the NHS. And what we found was that smokers in the NHS were nearly twice as likely to take time off, and when they took time off they were much more likely to take longer time off from the organisation. There are good, nice guidelines around smoking cessation and its effectiveness, but are smoking cessation opportunities deployed consistently across an organisation like the NHS? And the simple fact is that it isn't. We looked at the relationship between physical fitness and the likelihood of taking absence. We actually found that many NHS staff were actually too knackered at the end of their shift to actually do additional work. Okay, but actually what we did find was the ones that did regular physical exercise, again, were less likely to take time off at the end of the day. And then I think a very powerful statistic at the bottom, we asked what were the management factors that linked into likelihood of absence. And very clearly they were the simple things. If staff felt that their manager listened to them, if staff felt their manager respected them, if staff felt that they'd had effective regular appraisals, and if when they were off sick they had a good quality return to work interview, then attendance rates in the organisations that acted like that were significantly better. I think it's very worrying that when you ask NHS staff, and it is a case of cobbler's children, does your employer proactively look after you in terms of your health and well-being? And 40% of staff did not believe that. Actually, the other thing that we found, as well as the absence rates being high, was actually, and the chair referred to it before we started, was that 60% of NHS staff were actually reporting coming to work within the last month, feeling so ill that they could actually justify taking a day off. So there was also a high rate of presenteeism as well. And I guess where I come from is that at the end of the day, if I need to go into hospital or somebody that I know needs to get care from the organisation, would I rather that it was delivered by a happy, healthy person whose focus was actually on me than somebody that was worried about their hangover or their back problem or their etc., etc., etc. We found some very interesting cultural things within the organisation. These are the people who are our carers, but actually when it came to looking after themselves, there were some barriers. There was almost a guilty feeling that actually focusing on us actually was detracting from the quality of care that could be delivered to patients. But we also found examples of excellence. And what we did find was that when it actually came to investing in, for instance, early intervention programmes, organisations that did it delivered a pound sign return on investment, but they also hit their targets better in terms of it. We took the initial report around the country, that breakneck 3,000 miles or so that I was referring to. Actually, we tripped over Robertson Cooper in the northwest while we were up there, because we also sought to actually collect examples of best practice in terms of as we went there. So when we publish the final review publicly in a few weeks' time, we will publish alongside it 60 or 70 examples of good practice that we've actually collected already from across the NHS where it can learn from itself.